alive. Again, we're back with another episode of the Not Heroes podcast, Jax.
Hello.
We're finally live. And we are talking as usual with our new setup. We've got topics rather than... And we are live on both YouTube and we are live on Twitch this time. We didn't have a problem with YouTube this time, so we've got both of them live. I have muted my Discord so that it shouldn't pop up in my name and go, let's just post a new video.
I am on the chat on Twitch.
I can see the chat on YouTube, so it's fine. I can see the chat on everything, so I've got the chat open on one screen. So, to be fair, shall we get the big kind of primary topic out of the way of the show that we've been kind of getting into lately?
Oh, yes. Well, yeah. Alien Earth has been mental.
It has absolutely. So, episode 4 was a bit slower, but still equally as mental as the others. Episode 4 last week.
Yes.
Episode 4 last week was just... We had spoilers. It's going to be spoilers about the entirety of the show, every episode, every week.
Yeah.
Episode 4 being Jesus Christ. By the way, have you noticed we've still only seen 3 out of the 5 things in the containers?
We've actually seen something different, I noticed, in this episode. And I think it's a thing you talked about not so long ago. I think we saw one of the swarm. It's not those tick things.
Oh, do you mean the things that go in the water in this episode?
Yeah.
That's the blood bugs. That's just the ticks.
Yes, I know those. Yeah. But if you actually rewatch the very beginning of this episode, they go over a load of jars that are frosted over.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them has insectoid wings fluttering in the background and crawling.
Oh, yeah.
And then the next jar is the bloodsucker thing. So
that bloodsucker thing was seriously, but the episode before this one where we've got Wendy waking up after the end of episode 3, where she has the shock because they cut into the xenomorph and she passes out in regards to it. And, infect her brother's removed lung with the xenomorph egg parasite. I'm like, oh God. But episode 4...
I thought this was absolutely fantastic.
It was such
by the way.
Oh, it is. It's such a brilliant way of doing it. It's like, we get this new xenomorph that's hatched. We get the... Episode 4, we get Wendy waking up after this. She first can't hear anything because they've turned off her audio process. They're trying to find out why she can hear them. Because she can hear the goddamn xenomorph. That is
Yeah.
That's new. That's something we've not had before. Someone can hear them talk.
In particular, she can actually hear this thing in its embryonic state. It hasn't actually burst out of anything yet. It's still hibernating within the lung, getting itself bigger.
It's not that. She can hear. Remember, she can hear the facehugger that was injured, dying, and the overmorph. Meaning, is she hearing the low level, the thing that's always been hinted at, that these things are all telepathic? That's how they communicate. Are we actually getting
their hive mind status? Yeah.
Are we actually getting the confirmation that that certain people may be able to hear that range of hive mind status, which could be, but it's not just that. There's the thing that's in the episode after that I really want to talk about. That is a big plot point in the episode that I realized upon watching it made me go, oh shit! Have they just made certain 2 movies canon by doing this? But before that, so in this episode she wakes up, she's got a brother there, he's now got a mechanical lung, he's then basically, I love how you can see that he's being manipulated into he has to work for them, because you're basically a slave at this point, you are now in debt to us.
Well, yeah, so basically they've been told already, so Wendy has said that she wants to keep her brother there, and the Cavalier has turned around and said, yes, you can, we can work this out. As long as you do your job, we can work this out. So he's kind of already approved to stay. And Ade Edmonson's character, fantastic British actor and comedian,
Yeah.
he finds a way to make sure it's going to be profitable to them, because he says, well, I don't want to have anything to do with this. He says, well, you do have, you can leave. Don't get me wrong, you can leave. I mean, you were months away from leaving anyway, so you can leave. But we have to take your lung back because that belongs to the company.
Well, no,
but if you worked for us, of course,
we'll bill you for the lung, meaning you're going to be indentured servant anyway. You're going to have to work for us to pay it off. Either way, it's like.
Well, I mean, you know what that's going to come down to the end of the day. Even if you're not working for us, you can't afford it. We're going to take it back. So you've got to work for us.
Got to work for us or work for one of the other companies to pay it back. You don't get out of it. You don't get out of this. You ain't going to medical school anymore. It's so well because they manipulate him into doing that to stay, and then Cavalier manipulates her, even though they've already decided to let him stay because you paid attention to the conversation between the two of them before it. They've decided to let him stay, and then they decide to straight up turn it around on and manipulate both of them, even though they're going to let him stay anyway already because they can't let him leave. And I like the way they've done that. And then we've got Morrow, who is manipulating, slightly? Manipulating Slightly, I think it is. I can't remember I forget the kids' names. I think it's Slightly. Who's manipulating Slightly into, And it's like, and then he's like, oh yeah, I thought we were friends. And then I'm just having a chat with your mother. That was fucking...
Yeah, that was very dark.
That was just straight up, this is a kid in an adult's body, and just straight up, I need you to find somebody. You've got 24 hours or I'm going to be back. And it's like, fucking frustrating the poor kid's like family that thinks he's dead at this point, because that's as far as they've been told. And it's like, it's just one of them things. I'm like holy shit, because it's like he is. You can tell Morrow from all this point is a company man. He is a company man through and through. He does what he does because it's like this guy is a fucking asshole and a fucking complete utter.
Well, I have a bit of a theory on him at the minute as well, but we'll get to that for the next episode. But
he's a cyborg. We know he's a cyborg.
Well, there's a couple. I'll say it now. There's a couple of things he hinted to in the previous episodes about how once he plugged himself into Mother, when he's talking to the two young boys, he's like, well, "What would you do when you're plugged into a machine that's telling you that you've got to do this, this, and this?" So I think kind of like RoboCop, he's got a set of pre-built-in Weyland-Yutani presets, and there is only so much free will he can gain, and especially after connecting to Mother, it sort of re-establishes it all. Because there was a couple of scenes in this new episode, in the last episode, which his humanity came through a little bit more.
Well, I think it's less that. I think it's more. If you pay attention, like as we find out at the end of the episode, so episode 4 is episode 5. Episode 4 is like that. Episode 4 culminates because it's like it's not like as much story. It was slightly basically he's told he's got 24 hours to find someone to infect with a xenomorph, and then get the infected person, to the edge of the island. Morrow will pick them up, and Slightly is jealous of because after this he finds out that Wendy's been able to keep her brother and stuff. And and we see at the end of the episode, her brother's going to sleep in her, sleep, and Slightly stood outside the fucking window just staring at him. Basically, he's picked his target, which is going to cause the group to fracture. We know that's what's going to happen. But I can't. The thing is, at the same point, you can't blame the kid. He's a frightened child. He doesn't know. He doesn't know that if he literally tells. He doesn't know that if he tells. He doesn't understand fully, and he's a kid. That's like it's so dark the way the poor kid's manipulated by it.
And this really does, for me, this fighting loops a circle.
Yeah,
I could never understand why. I kind of get why they used the children thing to an extent, but I didn't understand the learning process thing. Why there were still children with all these mechanical parts, like with still robotic parts, android parts. And it does, and it kind of what we were speaking about. It comes down to how much they're learning.
It's also
we've seen it like this. Some of the one or two of them where they've been reading, they've become more
adult.
Teenage.
Yeah. Like Isaac, the one that's
and the
renamed
one-
himself Isaac rather than Curly. You know, has become Isaac, and he is because like I've named myself this after Isaac Newton, like the famous scientist, and I've been helping
And
helping
during
Kirsch
that
in the lab.
conversation, he points out. During the conversation, he points out all the things he's been teaching himself, and the others are like, "You can do that. Yeah, you can teach yourself anything."
Yeah, it's like
Well, I taught myself French.
Yeah, the other girl that's sort of French and everything is like being like it's because they're still in that. A lot of them are still in that because it's also you've had all the kids were different ages, and Slightly was a younger kid, and that's what I think it is. Is it's because they're all different ages. They've all still in that mentality of like of what age they were when they when they were transferred to the body. They're not real. They're not.
But this made sense for me now because this is the culmination of that childless nature.
Yeah, and what I'm gathering is I think Wendy was between the opening in the first episode and when the other kids arrived. I don't think it's like a couple of days. I think it might be a few years between. It is a few years. I think between Wendy becoming transferring body to when they perfect the process to try it again on the other kids. Because if you notice, because her brother's grown up when they were both kids at the initial point.
Yeah.
And and if you pay attention to the flashbacks between the two, her brother's only like a year older than her. He's barely, so they aren't. It has been several years since, like, for her, but I think for the other kids, I think the bit after between her like being transferred and the kids is she's been a kid she's still somewhat of a kid, but she's been in that body for a few years, whereas the kids have only been in the body for like possibly like a couple, like barely a year or a month at that point when everything kicks off. Which is why Wendy's the one that's in charge, because Wendy's kind of the one that's matured a little bit more. And then they are all mature at different rates as they learn stuff, and it's like, and that episode, like you get the interaction with them all, and like Kirsch's like thing, and then we get the final culmination of episode 4 is the xenomorph hatching from the lung, and then talking to Wendy.
Yep.
And it's like, uh-oh. Why is it communicating? It's so beautiful. It's like, why the hell is it communicating? It's communicating. It's not. It's like every time we've seen these things, it's been.
If you watch, it went into its aggressive mode, and then she started chirping to it.
Yeah.
So she started the communication process, and then it changed its.
Yeah, it calmed down.
I'm wondering if it thinks that she's the queen.
Could be. It's this thing. It's gonna be so interesting because I do think we are going to see a queen in this series. We are going to see one finally. I also have a very strange feeling that this series. So I have one, not prediction. I'm not going to predict this. It's not a prediction at all. I'm not going to put this down there as a prediction. I have one thing about this series that I kind of really, really honestly want to happen off the back of this series. It's two things. Okay, one, this series to lead into Alien Earth, Earthhive, to lead into the actual storyline from the comics, which shows the xenomorphs overrunning the goddamn planet because of man's hubris. Because we've had the corporate side of Alien, right? We had a bit of the religious bit in Alien 3 with the guy that kept calling it a dragon and basically thinking of it as it's a god or something. I need more of that, if I'm honest. I really want to get to Alien Earthhive and have the storyline of the Church of Immaculate Conception and have the dudes that, essentially that cult that starts worshipping the xenomorph and attacks a facility to basically infect themselves and spreads it across the planet, causing an outbreak.
That is the wonder. That is the fantasticness and the wonder of them doing a TV series, because a lot of that isn't enough for a film.
No, it's stuff that
a couple of episodes in a series,
dedicated
to shit going down on Earth, that worked.
Oh yeah, it's like it's brilliant. It's and then we get episode 5. Sorry, so end of episode 4 we got the xenomorph. The new xenomorph's been hatched. Episode 5. Yeah.
Sorry, wait, before we get to episode 5, can I just say something?
What?
look at the image you were using for this podcast.
Yep. Do you mean
Look at the creature inside the tank.
Oh, you mean
with the insect wings and legs?
Oh, I know. The big fucking bug. I funny thing is,
Which
there's
is
five.
the thing.
Yeah, there's 5 images of like stuff in the tanks. I still want to know what that plant does. By the way,
yes,
the plant. That plant is so like I want to know what it does because it's like we've seen it barely for a second. I'm also. Did you note it? So, I have a question about that plant.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we get to episode 5. Yeah. We see the thing that's in that cube there, and we see, like, several stuff. We see the... did you notice, by the way, this is the weird thing. So in that bit, opening sequence where... not opening sequence, but in that bit where we're seeing, like, stuff go down, the first thing going wrong, when stuff starts to go wrong, with the... Not stuff starts to go wrong. We get the first... We open it, we get the... Morrow being woken up on the ship because the captain and one of the crew member have been face-hugged. Because the eggs were open for some reason.
So the actual lines are: there's been a fire on in the specimen deck, and the captain and I can't remember the other dude's name are dead. And then at the moment we don't know that it's got anything to do with the xenomorphs or anything. It's not until we get down to, the captain. Yeah, it's just the captain is dead. And when they get down to the medical bay, or Morrow's there, you see 2 people on beds with...
It's Dinesh is dead and the captain's incapacitated. Because the captain's... Captain's Bron, the guy that's got the face that survived.
No, remember, the captain was the one that had his neck burnt off because the first officer was having sex with the guy that was in the tube, and he wasn't a captain.
Oh, wasn't that?
The captain was the one where they tried to remove the thing first, and the acid burnt straight through their neck.
Acid. Yeah. So there's a thing that I want to say about this episode. Did you notice that they know so much about the fucking xenomorph?
Yes, I did. The fact that they called it an overmorph originally, then at one point they said these things, or one person said they're over, they can get to over 6 foot. Then later on, someone else who wasn't part of that conversation is, how big can one of these things get? And they looked at each other, and then they go into a meeting in the CAF where they talk about an overmorph and xenomorph.
And then
wait a minute.
Yeah, I'm like, wait a minute. Why is Weyland-Yutani know so much fucking thing about this? My response in my head went, have they just unofficially made Alien vs. Predator 1 and 2 canon? And actually just gone, they're now canon part of the timeline.
I think, not only do I think Alien 1 and 2 are canon, I think the entire Predator universe is credited.
We know that Badlands has Weyland-Yutani in it. And I'm excited for that film primarily because Badlands we're getting a film from the point of view of the Predator. Not the point of view of
humans with the Predator.
No, we're getting the point of view of the fucking Predator itself, and he's going to speak entirely in their language, which means we're actually getting a film that, like Prey, has that version that's entirely dubbed in Comanche that you can watch. And I've actually watched it, and it's actually really fucking good watching the whole version in Comanche. Like the actors are really good at doing it. You can tell they put a lot of effort into it. But the fact we're getting a film that's going to be the only person speaking English is the Weyland-Yutani android. He's going to be entirely speaking in Yautja in that entire film, and it's like, this I can get behind.
Yeah, no, I'm
and also, it's like the humans in the film aren't the protagonists, if you pay attention. From the trailer, it looks like the humans are the antagonists, which makes this even more fun. We're getting a pro-Predator film where the Predators are the protagonists of the movie instead of the antagonists, which I kind of really like.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that the reason I pointed out this before about how I think these film is linking those universes is because of that mesh netting thing that Morrow used originally to take down the alien.
Yeah, it was like
and keep it sucked up. And I was like, wait, we have seen something like that, very similar to that before,
netting
only as an offensive weapon.
Yeah, instead to grab these things. Also, it's just like, in all honesty, it's like episode 4. We get this whole bit where they're telling them about the xenomorph, and I'm like, how do they know so damn much? And it's like it points further to the fact that Weyland-Yutani might have been trying to acquire these things a hell of a lot longer than Alien. They've been trying to acquire this thing for years, which means that they'd known about this thing. But also the fact they have such detailed information makes me go, has Weyland-Yutani faced these things before the Alien film and all these films? Meaning that
we kind of know that they have, because they are involved in. I'm sure I could easily be wrong here and making this up in my own head, but I'm sure in one of the later Predator or Predators films, whatever it was called, one of the company names of something that goes along is Weyland-Yutani.
In Alien vs Predator 1, it is Weyland Industries that funds the entire thing.
Weyland Industries, that's it, not Weyland-Yutani, Weyland.
Weyland-Yutani are technically in. It also could possibly be making a certain video game that I love from the PlayStation era and the Xbox era canon as well, meaning that Weyland-Yutani doesn't canonically form because in Prometheus it's still Weyland Industries. Yutani doesn't form till after Prometheus. Doesn't become Weyland-Yutani till after Prometheus when when Weyland goes missing. The companies merge. So it is canonically it's post that, and it could be making certain video games and stuff canon as well. It's kind of like, well, you just unironically made Alien vs Predator 1 and 2 canon films and just gone, oh dear, they've opened
I honestly think that
is
the case. I honestly do think that is the case.
And I'm like, because it makes it even more. It's like, so they collected xenomorph on purpose, and they knew how to contain the eggs so that no one would get infected. That's the other thing, because they clearly collected those eggs with the synthetics, not with the people, because they knew the eggs would hatch. You know what I mean? Which means they knew about them and they collected them on purpose. But where did they collect them? That's the question.
Yeah. Well, we know it's some sort of moon. That's it.
Did they actually collect them from LV-426, or is there another moon that that they've collected them from?
Yeah. Now here's the thing: there was a line in this that they wouldn't know about unless this show happens after the events of most recent Alien film. I just forgot its name.
Romulus, which unfortunately happens before
Romulus.
because Romulus takes place between Alien and Aliens.
Because here's the thing, they mention, and maybe this does come down to the fact that maybe they got it from a type of not a moon without an atmosphere, or like say there's been a long-term exposure to this, but they mention we know these things can survive in the vacuum of space.
Yeah. That was
now the only way that they would know that, to my knowledge, with all of the films, is because of the one from Alien and Alien Romulus.
Yeah, but this is set prior to Alien and Aliens. It's set prior to Alien. This is set before the first movie, if I remember correctly. Actually, I'll double check the timeline that one. Actually,
it has a bit of a. I think the first film has happened in the time that they're in space.
No,
because remember,
Alien Earth is set in the year 2120, 2 years prior to Alien. The entire events of the series take place 2 years before Alien happens.
Well, it still allows this event to be the reason why the ship gets redirected.
This is the event that probably redirects the ship from the Nostromo to reclaim one, because Romulus takes place in 2142.
Yeah, so then
it's like
even with all of the franchise stuff that we have, how the fuck would they know that unless like I say something happened, or where they found it there was already no oxygen and it was already a vacuum to space.
Yeah.
Because otherwise that makes no sense.
Yeah, where did they find the eggs? That's the question.
Unless they found the eggs in something that was left open to the vacuum of space, and they didn't open up, but they could see that they were still viable, and that's how they managed to get them within a container.
Yeah.
I don't know if we've ever seen that. Have we ever seen a face hugger deal with with the vacuum? I don't think we have. I'm wondering if they could survive that. They do survive stasis, so apparently, which is
yeah, it is.
Well, I say it's new, but then
We'll
it's
have.
not.
We're gonna
Because
probably gonna
I'm
get. We're gonna
broken
get
up.
explained where they came from. Let's be honest. We're gonna find out where the hell this ship got
We've
them
got
from.
to, hopefully.
But this is, yeah,
Um,
it is legitimately. There are the points going on in this is just, oh crap, what the hell? Because that entire episode, them knowing how big they can get and everything, made me go, have they Have they just like soft confirmed that Aliens versus Predator 1 and Aliens versus Predator 2 are canon movies now to the franchise? Sorry, guys. You know the films that you don't particularly like, they're now canon. They're now officially we are making Predator 1, Predator 2, Prey, Predator Badlands, Predators. We're making all of them one universe and just going, it's a shared universe. A movie that is Aliens won't feature the Predator, and a movie that is Predator won't feature the Predator, but we will do the crossover stuff occasionally to let them put them together. But it's like I am intrigued by Badlands even more now because I have a feeling it's going to expand this maybe connection even more. If you know what I mean?
yeah. Oh yeah. No. 100%.
Yeah, and it's like, but yeah, the episode 4 though. Watching how shit goes down, like you get that first bit with the captain's dead and the other guys infested. They put him in the cryotube, and we get the first confirmation the cryotube does nothing.
Yeah. And now, weird enough, we have had confirmation. This is kind of confirmation to a theory about the third, what happened in between the second and third film, which is, how did that face hugger get there? Well, if cryotubes don't work,
yeah,
so it got there. So yeah. Then also, yeah. So it's one of those things. So that was an interesting thing. It was a nice little confirmation that a theory from back in the day is true. That basically their metabolism, their acid blood, stops them from going into full stasis. They can just carry on.
It's also probably how they survive in space. The acidic blood is what keeps them from freezing. Their biology is because they're silicon based. That's what everyone forgets. We are a carbon based life form. They're a silicate based life form. That was established in the very
which is
first
what
movie.
it can have.
Yeah. That's the main difference between the two of us, between the both of them. But yeah, like episode 4, the thing that majorly intrigued me is when the doctor is in the lab and you got the blood and she's like feeding the blood leeches the dead carcass and then closes the thing.
Oh, the biologist. Yes.
Yeah. Did you notice the Oculus tried to actually save her?
What? Yeah. Now,
let's be honest. It wasn't for altruistic purposes. You can tell that immediately.
Yeah.
But it was actually trying to help
get
it to notice that the thing had escaped, and I'm like, what the hell? It's trying to stop the other thing from feasting. They're actually
now. I don't think that's what happened. I think it saw a chance to cause a problem that might help it escape. Because we saw, obviously these things have an element of intelligence quite a lot. I mean, the bug thing worked out how to unopen its jar, and the Oculus thing worked out how to bounce its way out of the thing after it wasn't locked away properly. But the bug wouldn't have been able to do its thing and propagate the way it did because it only started trying to do that once it noticed water on the table. I think that Oculus thing was doing that as a distraction, so that thing could at least prop itself out.
I think it was trying to make a note. I feel like it was trying to make a notice it so that wouldn't get the food. Whereas yes, I mean I do. I was going to say but I completely see the point that you were going to say because we were talking about this not so long ago. They're all competing with each other for.
It was food. Also trying to. It didn't want her to be its next meal. It wanted her to be its next meal, not something else's. So yeah, but what happened with those things was fucking crazy.
Yeah. The kid, that poor fucking kid.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So we've just skipped over a lot of what happened. She's working on these 2 bloodsucker things, and she's worked out that they don't eat dead things unless they really, really need to.
Yeah.
It has to be fresh them to do their job. But whilst she's doing like studying one of them, a second one works out how to open its containment jar.
Yep.
And at this point, the Oculus creature starts literally. It makes a little fist and starts banging on the glass.
Yeah, it's like
to which point the biologist goes over and is like, well, I'm putting you back. You're going to keep making noise. And that's when the second one fully escapes out of its tube and dumps a shit ton of larvae into her drinking water, a little bottle, and then tries to escape and gets caught.
Well, no, it tries to hide itself in a sandwich a minute, temporarily, for a second, to get escape. And then the other guy walks in and notices, what the hell? It's escaped. It's like, what the hell did you get out? You must have left it open. And which she puts it back in, secures it, but because of this, she doesn't secure the Oculus in its cradle properly.
No. And then all of a sudden an alarm goes off.
Yep. And then we get the reveal that the damn thing broke out of the something broke out of the cryo chamber.
Well, no. Yes. Yeah. So that's what the alarm is for. The
no.
The
alarm in the cryo chamber is after this bit.
But what's the reason they leave the room? Because they do leave the room quickly.
It was because the meeting had just been called. So
okay, yeah.
Because it's the meeting because of Morrow finding out that there's a saboteur first.
Mm-hmm.
Morrow finds out there's a saboteur, and has to reveal it because he figures out someone's let out open the egg chamber and sabotage shit.
Mm-hmm.
There's a saboteur on board.
Yeah, I want to point something out as an ex-security guard, security officer. Myself, and I'm not currently augmented with any kind of technology.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed straight away when they did show the person opening up the hatch, looks nothing like any single one of the motherfuckers that were awake. And yet, this did dark me. The security officer spends a lot of time getting really angry and broody over which one of these guys walking around is the traitor, when quite clearly no one is the same size as that dude.
No, but I think it's to do with, let's be honest, Morrow is single-minded. He's a bit single-minded in the way he thinks, and he didn't think that someone would be pretending to be asleep, especially on a journey that, as they said, was 6 weeks away from Earth.
I completely get that, but my first instinct would be, we've got a stowaway. And we've not noticed in the 65 years we keep going to sleep. That would have been my first thought.
I do love the subtle thing of that Tong was not the bad guy though at all. Like even when he finally gets to Tong, Mr. Tong, who's a bit weird. We all know he's a bit weird.
Oh, look, not only a bit weird. I was convinced he was a synthetic. Flat out convinced he was a synthetic. Because of the way he acted in certain things, and then all of a sudden in this episode, and I thought maybe he had been corrupted, like we'd seen with others.
Yeah.
No. He had fear for the xenomorph at the very end, and he was slaughtered in the room with blood. So what the fuck was going on with it? I want to know more about that character.
I think he's just socially awkward.
Weird. Oh, they were saying suck. That character has history. That to be that weird.
No, he is a synthetic.
That character history.
He is a synthetic.
Yeah.
Mr. Tang is a synthetic. Why did he have
fear at the end?
Because remember, he's a pre-alien synthetic. Remember, Ash was capable of passing as human. Remember, no one realized Ash was a synth until
passing as human. Yes.
Yeah. Because they're not.
Maybe,
remember, synths have fear. They're not like fearless. That's a combat android, which are technically banned in the Alien universe. Synths don't. Synths have emotions and fear. Yeah. That's why they had the whole uprising, years later.
Yeah, but then well, anyway, back there. I just found that weird.
Yeah. He's a synth.
That character's background.
Oh, is he synth?
Yeah. So that gets us on to.
I don't. Is he synth or isn't he a synth? I can't. No, he's not a synth. He's human. Someone said he's. That shows what happens when I search for it and AI brings up he's a synthetic character. No, he's not. He's human. He is human.
Actually, that's it. I mean, he acts synthetic, and then at the very last moment, I was like, "Oh shit!" He's not. Because there is a moment when he's having a cigarette, and there's two guys in the background. If you actually listen, they're complaining because he's smoking their cigarettes, and he's not human.
Mm-hmm.
And so it doesn't do anything to him. So there are multiple references to him not being, unless he's and.
Yeah.
Are there any human type aliens in Alien?
Arcturians. Arcturians are just look like engineers but human sized. They're kind of like, but they're like a tribal culture.
Yeah, but he's not one of them. Yeah,
like a tribal culture though. They're not.
Yeah, but he's not one of them. So I'm just trying to think of what the fuck it could be. You know, man.
No,
that's human. It. That's for another day.
It's probably he's just socially awkward.
Yeah. But yeah, there was that.
I thought it was fully convinced he was a synth.
The Oculus.
Yeah, it clearly reached the Oculus.
But... I was up until that moment. I was.
We get
but yes, the Oculus escaped.
Yeah, we've got that. Then moments later, we get the Xenomorph breaking out of its of the cryo chamber, and they're going, "We've got to," and it's we've got a containment breach in the cryo chamber. What the hell happened? I guess cryo doesn't work on these things.
Yep.
It's like, oh, it broke out.
Also, one thing we did miss is at the meeting, when they have their meeting, the young boy then is getting told off, the young engineer, the engineer's apprentice, and he burns his mouth on his food and drinks the biologist's bottle of water, which is full of the larvae.
Yeah.
And then they have their meeting and they all leave.
We've missed a bit. The cryopod incident happens before this because it's while the Xenomorph's loose, they have this meeting where he goes, there's a traitor on board and this thing's loose. Yeah, and then it goes through all the information about the Xenomorph that were like, how do they know all this when they've never encountered one before? Like, Alien is supposed to be the first encounter, and it's like, how do they know all this fucking information about the Xenomorph right now? Like, everything about this thing. Like, this is too much information for a company that should have only just encountered this thing. This is way too much information. Yeah. It's just... It is legitimately one of those instances that made me go, oh shit, Alien versus Predator. It's a bit like I said like 4 times to this episode. AVP is canon. And I'm like, oh dear. They have just opened the floodgates. But in all seriousness as well with it, it's brilliant. We've got that. We then get, as a slow descent into madness as the kid. As the Oculus.
Oh yeah, so
breaks out.
So the Oculus breaks out, tries to escape. But before we get to that, we get the engineer and his apprentice trying to fix some bits in the ship.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a great scene where I actually thought we were going to see the pod, because you saw this thing coming down from the ceiling really slowly.
Yeah.
And the kid turns around to look at it, and it's a chain.
No,
and I was like, that was very good.
Brilliant way of doing that. I was like, because it was like a bait and switch for you. Because the way it came down the shadow, I thought it was the Xenomorph's tail, just about to stab the fucker.
I didn't. That was so okay. Yeah, I know. I didn't see the Xenomorph's tail. I honestly thought it was going to be that pod growing from the ceiling. But the thing was, I knew it couldn't be him that gets taken because he had already ingested his death.
Yeah.
So I was kind of confused to the pod. But yeah, no, it ended up being a pod. It was a chain. And then the poor young boy who's got these big, well, the larval form of these big blood-sucking things all through his system, he spews up a load of blood and collapses.
Yeah.
And it turns out their larval forms have turned into ticks and are crawling up and down inside and outside of his esophagus, and draining all the blood from his arteries from the inside out.
Yeah. And then They get in the there's the med bay. We get Morrow and basically forget her name, the captain, the one who's like the set captain at this point, the one we witnessed in the very first episode, get murdered horribly.
Yeah, but this leads to. Well, I mean, I've got so much to say about that scene. Now we've seen it in full.
Now we've seen it in full. Now we know why that thing was so fucking angry and brutal at that point.
So before we even get to that, we might as well just go through some of the weirder shit that we saw beforehand. So they try and save the young guy, and the doctor and the biologist try and save the young apprentice by giving him a surgery to remove the bugs from his esophagus, because by the time they take him to a cryo tube, he's going to already have bled out. And then upon removing the first of the tips, as a defense mechanism, they spray out basically a neurotoxin, and everyone in the room dies.
Neurotoxin, no, and then they purge the room.
Well, no. The green gas, if you actually notice, they're already convulsing and their eyes start bleeding. So it is some sort of neurotoxin.
Oh, it's neurotoxin to kill them. It's to protect for self-defense. But I'm on about they then purge the room to try and kill everything in the room, which doesn't work as you watch the little tick start, crawling over his body. We then get Morrow finally figuring out, after interviewing Teng, finally figured out who the fucking... I know, we get him interviewing Teng, and then he gets called there for this emergency, and Teng points out, just because someone's in a cryopod doesn't mean they're asleep. They're always asleep.
Yeah.
To which he then goes through the sleeping crew and finds out who it is. And we find out that Prodigy knew about the ship.
Yep, and knew about his cargo and has done for a while.
Yeah. Prodigy knew about the ship and everything, and is laid a saboteur on this ship.
Well, I don't think he's laid this guy on. I think he's managed to persuade him. I think because remember, he's been on this ship for 60. This tour, they mentioned it a couple of times. This tour has been 65 years. They left Earth 65 years ago.
Yeah.
So there's no way that that the Cavalier could have had this then. He's had to find someone that is very disenfranchised with what's going on and pissed off at his quarter share this amount of time.
Well, yeah, there's how many crews? 1/16th of a share, basically. There's 16 crew members, from what I can gather.
Well, they keep referring to a quarter share. I don't know what that means in terms of money, because
it's basically essentially the way the engineer guy explained it to him is that they get paid a shit ton of money because
to lose 65 years,
65 years of their life. So they're basically paid probably the 65 years worth of wages when they get back.
Because at two other points, they actually mention so at one point the young boy is reprimanded and he loses 1/16th of his share.
Yeah.
Which is obviously this quarter share. And then later on, a reward for any information about the saboteur is 1 share.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming this term is being used as a multiple. So yes, they're getting a quarter of a share. I'm assuming it's a quarter of a share in the company, so whatever that is worth when you get back.
Yeah.
And then, if you lose your, if you come back at a good time, the company's really profitable because of what you brought back. Your quarter share is going to be worth a fuck ton. If the company's in a bad run, it's not going to be as worth. It's still here, fuck ton, but still not much as well. So I know that's what I'm working in my head. That's what they mean by share, and then the actual amount can vary depending on what their actual.
I feel like it's a set amount that they all get paid for the job, split amongst them all, no matter what. Like, as in, they all get paid a certain amount, basically divided by how many crew members. And it's something. Because the ship is owned by WAE, but then that would encourage you to kill members of the crew to get more shares.
Yeah, which wouldn't make sense. So that's why I think the share is a share in a company. So
it's probably not a share in the company itself. It's probably a equivalent of owning 1 share in the company, basically. Is what
or cargo. I know it might be like the old pirate and privateer stuff, but the crew get a share of whatever is sold from the or the profit of whatever it is they brought back.
Yeah.
But even then, the quarter share doesn't make sense to me when it's talked like in that terms, because once again, there is so many more people on that ship. One person shouldn't be getting a quarter.
Yeah.
Unless a share is a definable thing. Okay, one share in a company, and they get the equivalent price of that.
They get probably the equivalent price of the share of a present share price of the company when they return.
Yeah, and then that's why you would pick a Wayland over a Prodigy over another, because their shares are worth so much more. It's worth more my time.
Oh yeah. We do, but as we get, as you know, shit starts to hit the fan. Miss Teng's left in the office as he has to go down, and then Morrows goes to try and find the person that he's woke up. He gets his, assistant, his other security officer, arms him, and they both go looking for this guy because he's awake. They know he's awake now. He's been hiding. They get in a firefight outside the medical bay.
Yep.
And that's where we get the body in the medical bay from the, originally.
Yes.
Because his assistant...
this poor kid.
That poor kid.
He gets done so rotten. He pissed off a writer or a director because originally he gets shot in the shoulder and he's down. And then as he's being dragged into the room for safety, he gets shot in the knee. Yeah. And then when he's behind cover, almost completely covered and safe, he gets his dome completely blown off of his neck. This kid, basically, this kid is Nice Paul in Wolverine and Deadpool. He was just a bullet sponge.
Also, but prior to this, before the lab gets locked down, we have the dock and thingy go back to there before they have, the incident, and find out the damn thing's loose, so they lock the fucking lab down to make sure the Oculus doesn't escape. But
unfortunately, it's now been, that lockdown has been broken. Yeah,
it's been broken. And then as Morrow takes out the guy that's, the traitor, the ship is a bit... Because all the way through this episode, we're finding out the ship is basically everything that's going to happen, that we've seen already happen. The ship's become a missile at the start. We're heading for Earth. We can't stop it. We've lost the navigation. Now we've lost all our fuel. There's no chance for us slowing down. It's all this shit. Everything's getting worse and worse. Then you've got the acting captain who, at this point, while Morrow's fighting this dude, runs from the xenomorph as it fucking chases her.
Right, so now this is where I wanted to get to. So two things have now currently happened. Yeah. They've been told at this point they have to stay in groups of two, and the engineer and the captain have been put together. Only thing is, the captain is basically partially catatonic at this moment because of everything that's gone wrong.
Yeah.
And the engineer has gone, like, I've got to go get everything ready for us to be able to fly this ship from one room. Mm-hmm. I've got to go. So he goes off and does his thing, and she stands there like a pillock, rubbing dirt into her hands.
Well, I think if you pay, she does it to the guy that she's been banging, Pod earlier.
Yes,
I think it's a cultural thing for her, wherever she's from.
So she's from. So it's Earth from Utah. It actually says it on the thing, and it's actually Earth from home. And I'm thinking that she's kind of doing. She did that in a way of, that's her personal item. That's like in the RPG. In the role play game, when you're stressed, you get your personal item, and that can calm you down. I think that's exactly what that was representing there. The person that wrote that is a player of the RPG, and was like, "This is this moment," and you were doing it there. And yeah, that's exactly what I think that was. It's Earth from like probably a back garden that she takes with her to still have a connection to home. But yeah, it was just this weird scene. She's rolling this dirt in her hand, and then the xenomorph just drops down behind her.
I loved the way that scene played out, though. It was just like, it just slowly drops behind her, and as she just turns around, you're watching as she's reaching for the fucking taser, and it just sweeps the tail underneath her and trips her. And you're like...
Well, here's the thing. There was an element there. Well, once again...
It's not acting, not acting normally.
It's alien. Didn't just attack her. It studied her for a second. It looked... It's almost like, is this the thing I'm looking for? And then when it realised it didn't, that's when and she manages to get away. That's when it's like, right, now it's time to hunt. But yeah, weirdly enough, the only time we've ever seen that kind of looking and just checking is with Ellen Ripley.
Mm-hmm.
when they just lean in, and it was a great scene.
It was so good. It was just,
but it led to something that blew my mind because, and also because I was messaging you, I missed the key detail. So I watched it all the way to the end, going, "Oh my god, this explains so much. This explains so much." And I went back and rewatched the final set, that scene again, and then I saw the bit I missed, and I was like, "This doesn't explain as much as I thought it did." That was still cool.
Which scene was that?
Yeah,
one?
the captain. We'll get to this. So the captain is running away from the xenomorph. She gets to the
bridge,
cockpit bridge where they've all been told to meet. She gets into the room. She starts sealing the door before checking to see if anyone's there, and then she starts calling out for the people she knows still alive.
Well, no, she looks at the engineer's there. She's trying to get his attention, and
originally she calls out. She actually calls out for Morrow because she starts sealing the door straight away, and then she calls out for Morrow. Then she looks round. She sees the engineer. She's like, "Help! It's right behind us. We've got to seal the door." He doesn't move.
It's like it's so unsettling. He just stands there,
sealing the door. And she's like, "Look, you've got to hurry up. I need help." And she's seeing it, and he's not moving. And then she slightly turns around, and so does he, with one massive saggy eye.
And it's like, "Oh shit, the Oculus!" It's like, it's so fucking terrifying, that thing.
From this point on, we have got one of the best alien movies that ever existed in 10 minutes.
We got that thing immediately attacks. He immediately attacks it. You just see him slam her against the wall, and it like cuts out to Morrow where it is now going towards the bridge, and the xenomorph's given up for a second.
The xenomorph is trying to smash through the door, but then he sees the other alien in there and sees it attack the woman. And it's like, I've lost it. That's and it is that case of that's no longer my meal, or that is no longer my thing. So it goes.
Yeah.
And then Morrow escapes. He gets in through the door, sees the captain on the floor, trying to work out what's going on, looks around and sees the engineer again with his one wonky eye.
I love that it snarls at him. It uses his body to snarl at him.
Everything this creature now does, from this point on, shows that this is basically the Tribble to the Klingons. You do not think this thing is going to be anywhere near as dangerous as it actually is.
No.
For anything really, really dangerous. But then Klingon looks at it and goes, "What the fuck is the most dangerous thing in the world sitting doing there?" Because as Morrow starts fighting this thing off, it makes a noise. And you think, what the fuck is that noise? Until the noise calls back. Because it has just imitated the vocal sounds of an alien.
Yeah.
Xenomorph.
And the xenomorph
Comes calling back in.
And it's not happy.
Morrow decides, no, it's not happy. The woman gets up. Well, she's not up yet. She's still down. Morrow decides, fuck it. He goes through the...
he just runs past he stuns it, runs past it, and then it just runs at the xenomorph and fucking full on fights it.
It looks at the two and decides, I'm going to kick the shit out of the xenomorph. Now, it does something that, one, we have seen before, and it's something we haven't. The one thing we've seen before is when the predators have fought it and it jumps on its back to basically remove a lot of the problems except for the tail. It then bit it.
Yeah.
And started to carry on biting, and the alien was freaking the fuck out. Like it needed to get this thing off. Like this thing is a problem.
It was like, oh shit, it's a fight.
It kills the dude. And then it pops itself. The alien kills the dude.
Can I point out something?
Rips itself. Yes.
Sentient speech. So I'm looking kind of all over myself. I'm looking at the alien, anthology wiki. Sentient species, human, Typhanophis ocellus. That thing's sentient, apparently. That explains why it's so fucking intelligent.
Yeah. Well, I mean, once again, I think it does. I mentioned this before when we were talking about how it attacked I couldn't understand why it attacked the robot, other than the fact of its size. I think it does take a lot of its intelligence from the creatures that it has inhabited. And like kind of I was talking about the alien as well. in a cat it knows predatory things, and other predatory things. We don't know what fucking shit that's been in before.
No.
And it looks like it is a natural enemy of a xenomorph anyway, because of the way it just went for it and the way it knew how to attack it, even in such a limp form as a human. The human is a nothing to a xenomorph; it gets ripped to pieces. But it managed to outmaneuver it and bite it.
It fought
so
it like
it knows how to use. It knows how
to
to use its host.
Yeah, it learns quickly. It was very fast at learning, and I'm like, what the hell is this thing? Why is this thing capable of?
Here's something. It then knew how to attack the xenomorph in its own little squid form, which means I think these are from the same planet.
Yeah.
I think these things fight a lot because the alien freaked the fuck out when it was on it. Literally, it was stripping at its own face to get this thing off of it, slamming its face into the walls as it's running.
Yeah, it was actually fighting it, actively trying. This was actively a threat to a xenomorph, tiny little creature, which also
this whole scene
makes
awesome.
Makes the theory that you had at the start of this series, like it makes that theory even more feel like that's why it's been killing people and actually, ripping the bodies to shreds rather than just
to make sure none of these other things have hosts. It doesn't want more of whatever these things are.
It's like
because these things are dangerous to it.
I don't think the blood bugs are. I don't think the blood bugs are, but I think that it knows it's faced the Oculus and it knows the Oculus is actually capable of being a threat to it. So I have a feeling the Oculus is specifically the one thing that it's like, I can't let it have any viable host that it can attack me with. So anyone that we don't infect gets torn to shreds. So that if it infects the eye, it's basically a head on the floor. Or a useless body.
That then leads us, because this is the bit I missed. I missed the bit where it manages to knock it off and then it scarpers away when I was texting you. Because from that moment on, I was like, this explains all the oddities we have seen in its behaviour if it's been infected.
No, it didn't get infected. It knocked it. But
it didn't get infected. That's the bit I missed. Then something that did happen straight after that, which is we'd already seen part of it, where she's banging on the door and asking for help. But when it finally got hold of her after all of that, the attack it did was rage.
Yeah, it was angry.
It was angry as fuck. It sliced, it clawed, it bit, it ripped, it did everything. We do not see attacks like I know once again.
The only time I've ever not seen, but read of an attack that vicious and that brutal right before, is in the Alien book, one of the Alien the 3 books, Alien books, right? One that is set between Alien and Aliens. It's where Ripley actually gets found by a damaged ship, and ends up helping them deal with the xenomorph infestation, encounters the Queen for the first time, and then at the end of it, because she's so mentally broken and scarred by the end of it, of encountering them on another planet, on another colony, like another planet, that they have to wipe her memory and then put her back into cryosleep, and she ends up, that's when Aliens begins, when she's found by another 25 years later in Aliens, and the book that's after it, From the Shadows Into the Shadows, which is a guy that turns out to be the long lost grandson, like great grandson of Amanda Ripley, that she did actually in fact have kids. And when he goes back to that same planet from the first book, under the newly reformed Weyland-Yutani Corporation post Alien Resurrection, the xenomorphs sense the descendant of Ellen Ripley's DNA, and the exact response is rage. Not the usual, we want this host. It's, this is the destroyer. This is the destroyer.
You told me his name was Alan Ripley.
No. He wasn't even called Ripley. He was just he had low-level psychic capabilities. That was the thing. Kind of like Mason from Aliens Dark Descent. But yeah.
So we've now got to sort of the ending bit, but we get the final couple of bits with Morrow,
Mhm.
where we see his full escape and then his conversation with Utani
Whose
after the fact.
granddaughter? Well,
The
Yutani's granddaughter.
granddaughter.
But also, I love that we also found out why he's so loyal to the company is that he basically goes, your grandmother had no reason to pick up a lowly street urchin like me. That's why he's so loyal,
Yeah,
because
with a terrible palsy arm.
yeah,
Yeah.
he was an infirm, like this injured cerebral palsy arm, like poor kid on the street, like urchin on the streets, and it was just they just decided to go, you know what? She just took him in, and that's why he's so that's why he's so loyal to Weyland Yutani.
Here's the thing. This just shows how all these companies are doing the same thing, because it's exactly what Prodigy have done.
Yep.
They have now got a bunch of loyal child soldiers in robot bodies.
Yeah.
Because they got them young and helped them when they were dying and sick, and now you've got a second chance at life.
Yeah.
Yeah, 65 years or so has not changed anything, just the name of the company. Yeah, I think it's just been very good. I mean, this was the episode I was promised. We've had this conversation.
Yeah, we had it last week on the last 2 weeks ago on the podcast about it. You mentioned this episode.
Yeah, so I'd been told that this was coming, and that it had been a show shift around, was meant to be getting everything in order, but they watched it through and they're like, it gets a bit jarring, because you go straight from a really big space story into a very slow burn land-based story, Earth-based story. So we got Eclipse, the taster of what happened.
Did you notice that every scene that happens in this episode happens exactly like the flash forwards we get in the first episode? They all happen
because that's what it got me. Yeah, no, and the reason because is that first episode was this last episode was original first episode, and then they re-edited bits. They basically cut bits off of it to make that quick.
It also means I have a feeling the next 3 episodes, because there are only 3 left after this, by the way. Yeah, the next 3 episodes, because this is episode. No, there aren't. There's how many episodes are there in total? There's 8 in there in total?
I thought there was 10.
There's 10.
Yeah, it might be right.
I can't remember. I've forgotten how many episodes are in it. How many?
IMDb to the rescue.
8.
Alrighty, 8. So we've only got 3 more episodes.
Which I think that they put this episode here deliberately after moving it around, going, here's your little bit of a like a slow down like episode of stuff right before the next 3 episodes. Shit is gonna hit the fan every episode. This is the point where everything's gonna start going wrong, because they've just bred a xenomorph. We know it's about to go wrong.
To be fair, this really is the only place you could have put it, except for at the beginning or at the very end as an AVO, because an OVA, because like I said, that with her sitting there talking or communicating with an alien, whatever happens next is going to be big. So having a palate cleanser there, good idea. Like I said, or the only other way to do it is to have it at the beginning, but then that would be, from what we've just got, if that was the first episode of a TV show and we went straight into, from there it was the crash and we got everything we had with the sister and stuff, I'd have been like, you've given me a different show than you promised.
Yeah.
Having
it here works, I think, works so well.
Doing it the way, it worked perfectly. Like I say, the only other thing would have been you do the series as it is, and then the last episode would be a thing like security report log file, and then you see everything that happened out the way you did as a final episode. No, I think actually here and now it's very good, because I'm sure there's going to be 1 or 2 things that happened in that's going to be important. Because we know that iBug thing's going to be coming back in big form. That containment room is going to be now a big issue, and I think they needed to show us certain things happening before these final 3 episodes.
Yeah, we still haven't seen Creature 2. We still haven't fully seen though Creatures 4 and 5, as in the bug thing with wings and whatever the last one. We've still not seen those
I
two.
am maybe wondering if we're not going to see them this series. I know they said we would.
I really want. I'm actually kind of hoping that it isn't going to be another. That there is going to be another series because this has been that good, and I'm actually enjoying this. Like, Descent into Alien Universe that isn't a big film. That's an actual series going on about stuff, and I'm enjoying this because we're getting to see the more, like, let's be honest, we're getting to see the kind of human. They're not like human side, but like the more how the world actually works in this universe. Because in Alien, in the films, we don't really get to see how it works on a broad scale. You know what I mean? Because they focus on the big action events and stuff. But in this, we're getting to see how like the actual dates, like you can see from that first episode, even like how day-to-day life actually is in just that Prodigy colony. Because there are a lot of people that you could see just living on the street.
Have given us a lot of lore.
Yeah.
This series has actually given us a universe to put that lore in.
Yeah. It's given us more world building and more of like, this is how the world works, how the Earth works. This is how these corporations run the world. They basically manipulate you into doing what they want you to do.
I mean, it's quite an important thing to grant something, to be honest. Like, for example, I mean, there are many reasons for it, but especially with Alien, it's one of those, over the series of itself, it has been many things. It has been a horror movie. It has been a sci-fi adventure. It has been suspense. So yeah, it is taken on many genres, and because of that, it can and because it's never really been anchored, it can kind of be anywhere. That's also one of the great things about you could actually see the Alien universe being in Marvel or DC or in the Turtles or in whatever. It's one of those things that had that feel of being anywhere. Kind of with Alien Earth and the universe it's given it, weirdly enough, it then makes it more along the lines of things like, which it's been connected to before, but things like Blade Runner, or
Predator more. So.
Well, I mean, Predator, Alien and Predator always, but
no, but I mean, like we've now got kind of somewhat like more overt connections than what we used to have, where it was kind of, Predator gave us a little hint in the whole Predator 2 little that was only put there as an Easter egg. Let's be honest, it was actually only originally put there as an Easter egg, as just here's a xenomorph head, but
because it's funny, it was a funny thing. It was a bit of an homage, but it started a whole universe off. That's the thing, and loads of people ran with it for a long time. I mean, there was the video games long before the movies, and there was the comic book tie-ins. But no one ever sort of officially confirmed anything.
But it was also like from comic to comic, the universe varied as well. Like in the books to comics, the way it worked, it varied so much. Like, sometimes it was the corporations worked like this; they were just part of this, and then sometimes it was like this, sometimes it was like that, etc. You know what I mean? Now, we've now kind of got this is the established way this universe works. This is the kind of canon way that Aliens works. That this is the way the universe is. There's none of this stuff, that stuff. This is how it is canon. It works this way.
And it is like I say, it grounds it to an area and a place, and it's quite and I like it. I can easily see this being a universe
which we can get lost
either a year, a decade either side of the events of something like Blade Runner.
Now. Well, let's move on to our technically second topic of the day, because we discussed this a lot, which is the announcement from Mr. Gunn today that we're getting a second Superman movie.
So I mean, this is kind of big news because he had mentioned before that he had a treatment for a second film, and he has said that he won't make any announcements until he's got a script that is good and ready, which is why he recently cancelled a movie. We've not been told which one it is, but it's heavily been suggested it's the Batman Brave and the Bold movie that got canned. So him announcing that, the next movie for Superman, at least, is going to be Superman: Man of Tomorrow.
Yep. Finally getting,
which is fantastic.
It's fantastic because it means we can get more Nicholas Hoult and more Davis Cornswain. And I am all for it because I love those two. They are brilliant together. Nicholas Hoult, in my opinion, the only other Lex Luthor, like live action Lex Luthor, in my opinion, that is anywhere near as actually. Sorry, no. The only other two live actions is the guy that played Alan. I always forget his name from Two and a Half Men. You know, from Supergirl in the CW universe.
Yeah.
And Smallville's one. Is it Michael Rosenbaum?
Yeah, Rosenbaum. Yeah.
It's those two because those two played Lex perfectly and played him really well. Because I'm sorry, but they were really brilliant.
Modern Lex very, very well. You've got to remember Gene Hackman's version was very much Lex Luthor of its time.
Oh yeah, it was older. It was older than Lex, but I don't get me wrong. I don't have anything bad to say about Gene Hackman's version of Lex. The only Lex I actually have stuff to say bad about is, ironically, it's the only one I didn't like. Is even though personally he's the best part of those films, is Jesse Eisenberg's version. I didn't like that one, but he's arguably to me is the better part of those movies. I'm just not really a fan of it.
I'm not a big fan of him at all. I didn't like his representation of Lex Luthor at all. But I will happily put my hat down in the ring to say that the worst live action Lex Luthor is Kevin Spacey.
I can't argue with that one. That's Superman Returns version, isn't it?
Yes, Superman Returns. Now, this is a film that has become a movie that I have given a hell of a lot more time to. I've watched it more times in the last 4 years than I'd ever watched it before. All comes down to the Arrowverse because
Brandon Roth got to play
Brandon
his
Roth
Superman.
coming back coming in as the Atom first of all, and then coming back to be Kingdom Come Soon.
Hello,
Superman, reprising the role from
out there,
his film. This is the big thing. They have said that Superman. Sorry, I have said that Superman is the Superman from the film.
Mm-hmm.
That's his legacy. But the big thing about that Superman film was it was a direct sequel of the Christopher Reeves Superman. So he's actually playing Christopher Reeves Superman. So the dude from the 70s, from the Superman movie, comes Kingdom Come Superman.
Brandon Roth was in that. I
rewatched that film. And yes, the Superboy shit is crap. And Kevin Spacey is just awful. Not just because he's an awful human being, but because I actually do really like his acting. I won't lie. He is in some of my favourite films. But he's horrible in that film. He's terrible in that film.
It's like he wasn't trying to put any effort in.
Yeah, but I will say, him literally holding onto her whilst the rest of the plane falls through past them. Still hate that scene, but hell have I fallen in love with him flying the Kryptonite Fortress of Solitude into space. I hated that originally, and now I look at that and go, fuck me, that's Superman.
That's Superman. Willing to give his own life to save everyone else.
It's just an image. It's just a great image. And anyway, we'll get we've
got DC's
Nicholas Hoult, great Superman. But here's one of the reasons why I'm excited for this, and we discussed this slightly beforehand. So the Man of Tomorrow moniker for Superman has always been given to Superman, because especially because of the Boy of Tomorrow comics, where he went with the League, and went into the future and did all the whole 21st century stuff. But in the actual comics that are Man of Tomorrow, the villain of the thing is always Lex Luthor. And nearly always in those comics, he gets a big upgrade.
He gets
in particular, the first one is the suit. which if we get that film, it's Lex and Super, like that's how they fight. He's getting out of prison and he's got his Lexo suit, and that's really great. The second one is where Superman needs help because something's gone bad, and he goes to Lex Luthor in prison, and they work together to stop the bad thing, only for at the very end,
Lex
Luthor to stab him in the back, which would be a great story.
It would be.
The third story.
It'd be predictable. We know it's going to happen, but it'd still be a great story.
The third one that is a Man of Tomorrow story, that is another big Lex story, is once again Superman comes to Lex. He needs some help because there's something going strange, and it's Brainiac. And by the end of that comic book, what happens? Lex and Brainiac merge into one being. Now,
I don't think we'll get that version.
Stories.
I don't think we get that version. I feel
which one would be a great reason for the Justice League to get together to fight something.
See, the
villain be Lex.
I feel like Lex, the first one, would be the brilliant way of starting to introduce the actual Justice League characters. I also like that Maxwell Lord in James Gunn's universe is not going to be is not going to be the one we got in the Wonder Woman film and these stuff.
No,
we're getting the actual Maxwell Lord, who is not a villain. He's just a guy trying to help.
No, well, he's an arsehole. I mean, so I am going to.
Well, he's an arsehole, but he's a guy that they're going for he's more of an arsehole that's trying to help and not I'm going to become a villain version of him.
But this is, I'm assuming you haven't seen Peacemaker yet.
No, I have not watched Peacemaker yet. I know he's an arsehole.
Oh yeah, he's more of So, best way to put him. So, if you've ever seen, I can't remember the name of the show now. With the superheroes, The Boys.
I haven't watched it. I just never get around to it.
So, in that, there is one of the main premise of it is, superheroes have become company property. It's great for a company to have their own superhero team. And and one company is the best at it, and then they have a shit ton. Well, that's kind of what Maxwell Lord is doing with the Justice Gang that we saw in Superman, and then what we saw carried on into Peacemaker. Because one of the first scene in Peacemaker is Peacemaker going for an interview in basically a shitty old burnt out warehouse. Behind a screen, and it's Maxwell Lord, Hawk Girl, and Guy Gardner, Green Lantern, doing the interview. And the very funny bit here is when they did the change up to show you what has changed from the first series, because of the whole, it's no longer the Snyderverse, it's the Gunverse. Instead of saying that the Green Arrow is the back end of a brony at brony conventions with a big borehole taken in the arse. It's that Green Lantern has a puke and poo fetish, and he really enjoys being thrown up on. So Guy obviously does not like Peacemaker.
Well, it's also instead of the original joke of Aquaman fucks fish.
Yeah, but that's another joke that's in it. But what happens is basically he's second in line. I can't remember the name of the superhero. Comes run.
It's a rabbit.
Female comes running.
So it's the rabbit.
Yeah, she's in tears. Is that her name? I can't remember.
No, it's the first time we've actually ever gotten her in live action. Live action.
Yeah, I know. So she's in the comics, but I can't remember her name. Anyway, she comes running that cry, and he goes in, and the premise is that the speaker machine that they're using isn't working. So when they turn it off, everyone on the other side of the screen can still hear what they're saying. And because of that, you can hear that Maxwell Lord is an arsehole. The reason the woman went out crying is because he kept talking about her camel toe in her costume.
Yeah.
And so so he's going to be good. I mean, I like the way he's done him. He's a sleazebag. He's there for the profit, and for making his team look like basically House of Fraser, Harrod's team. You know, they're going to have to look golden mint. Yeah, it's quite funny. It's the way that they're setting that up.
Oh yeah.
But it also it has also set up another couple of things as well, such as Superman and Supergirl, although may not be members of the Justice Gang, have actually been helping them out for quite some time, because instead of it being the Justice League that you saw originally at the end of Peacemaker with Cavill and all that lot, it is Corn Sweat and the new Justice League standing there, and he's with them with Supergirl. So, yeah, they have been around and helping for a bit.
It's White Rabbit.
For you. White Rabbit.
Yeah.
It really doesn't matter. We're not going to see her again.
No, it's the first time we got her as a live action, though, apparently, which is kind of neat. You got a White Rabbit in live action. I only know it because it was over a bunch of DC groups I was in. It's the first time we've got her in live action, finally.
I mean, say finally. I mean, how many people are holding their breath out for that character? It's like, if we ever get Condiment King, how many people are going to be that impressed?
Remember, if we get Condiment King in a live action DCU, I will be happy to get the jokey villains of fucking some of the joke villains in this. It'd be brilliant.
To be fair, we should definitely, if we get them, it has to be in a Flash or a Booster Gold movie. It's the only thing that makes sense.
It is, but all honesty, it's
on the DC stuff. I'll have to find their name. There is a great set of guys out there doing a podcast on the animated series of Batman. Whilst they're watching it, these live reviews, and the way that they talk about the show has been making me cry, because it's like Batman just does not give a fuck, except for in like a few cases. And there's one scene where they were doing one episode where they happens to be going after a bunch of.
Have you watched Caped Crusader?
Criminals. Yes, I have. Yeah,
the one on Amazon.
Yes,
I really enjoyed that take on Batman.
But in this one, in particular, the talk about this episode where he goes up against Condiment King and Rat Pack, and it's all these annoying hero villains that they're stuck with. Like Condiment King, he literally just kicks him off the side of a building, and then Rat Pack comes along and he's doing all these attacks with this metal bar. And Batman's just sort of standing there. He's like, "Don't even bother." And he's like, and then when he attacks, he just sort of is blocking himself out the way, and then steps out the way of one thing. And he hits an electric panel and electrocutes himself. Batman lifts up his mask, and his like eyes are like completely glazed over. He's like, "Oh shit!" And he looks at Robin, and Robin just like puts his arms up. He's like, "Oh my god, he just killed that fucker!" Wait, have you just realised? What's happening? He's getting so pissed off. He's like, he didn't even give a fuck. He knew that electrical shock was there. He's like, he didn't mean to kill him, but he's like, oh shit. And then in the next scene, they're fighting someone, and he sends Robin off. He's like, I'm done. Robin, he's for you. He's like, but yeah. He's sending Robin out. He's like, I ain't gonna kill anyone else tonight. I've already broken my rule twice. Kicked one dude off a building, I've electrocuted the other. I didn't realise what I did. And like the way that they just go over these episodes, like they did the Superman Batman crossover episodes. He's like, when you watch Batman in Bruce Wayne and Batman in these animated series, he doesn't seem that bad. It's only when you put him next to Superman you realise this motherfucker plays games with the gods. It's like, look at him. He knows that guy's Superman. He knows Superman likes Lois. They've just had this conversation. Now watch the next scene. And it's when a Bruce Wayne walks in and he's like got flowers and chocolates and a diamond for Lois.
Yeah, no, right?
Lois. You want to go out for a drink? And you see just Superman glaring at him. He's like, He knows what he's doing. He's playing with fire and he's smiling at the flames.
He does it on purpose to wind Clark up. That's what's funny. It's like, no, Clark, stop it.
But yeah, it's so funny. So I will get the name of these guys so other people can listen. But they are so funny the way that they just pull these episodes apart in ways you just don't imagine. And they're like, look at it this way, and it fits. It fits the narrative. That's the funnier bit.
But to be fair, Marvel DC at the minute, we've watched Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four. We talked about those earlier this year on earlier episodes. Go back and watch 2 episodes ago. And we talked about Fantastic Four and Thunderbolts and the new Superman movie in great length. We did. The Superman movie was amazing, and I don't want to start talking about it again because we'll be here until midnight talking about that movie. I'm not going to lie.
There is so much more to say about that film that we haven't already. It's just great.
Yeah, but we'll go on to our next topic, which is a topic I've wanted to talk about for quite a while. Star Trek Strange New Worlds.
One more thing we didn't mention is the big announcement from Marvel over Marvel Zombies.
Yeah, Marvel Zombies trailer went hard. Like Spidey just ripping all the zombies' heads off immediately.
In killer mode, yeah.
And Blade as Moon Knight.
Yep.
Blade Moon Knight. It's like, oh yeah, Blade is the Avatar of Khonshu. It's awesome.
I am so glad that they took the decision to remove this as an episode from season 3 of What If, because that was already kind of a shambles series, and actually just give it its own series because it needs it.
It was so popular, and I'm still going to admit I'm annoyed at What If Marvel was 1802 episode, because I think full well why it annoys me, because that was just the episode to set up the end of the fucking season.
Yep.
And I'm sorry, but it was so lame, because it's like you had the opportunity to set up 1602 and actually have a kind of relatively popular universe. People love the 1602 Marvel take. I have all the comics for it on purpose because I love it. I've read them multiple times. I love that entire France series. And yeah, they just swamped it. But unless we talk about What If, the better, because I really don't want to talk about the What If seasons.
Unfortunately, it did become a bit of a Game of Thrones where they lost their way in the 3rd season because they removed too much.
They started trying to. They were like, we need a big ending story for every season. I'm like, no, you don't. Only that first season needed that. Like, the show was meant to be What If. Why the hell did you not just give us every episode being a one-off episode of some here's something that changed in this universe that made it something? It's like, no, it needs to be have a big overarching story to each season. No, we don't.
Well, it lost. Well, we kind of know now that it lost to it. Like every season, they said you're going to get this number of episodes, and then you lost 2. That's why 2 episodes of season 1 ended up getting added to season 2, and then they ran out of time again, so they lost 2 more episodes, and we got one of those in season 3, and then we were meant to get that was meant to be an extra episode on that season, but then they lost 3 episodes.
Oh yeah, because that was the episode with Bucky and and Red Guardian, because that was in the trailer for season 2.
Yeah,
the original trailer.
So that's what happened. We was always meant to get more episodes per season, but we never did. And because of the shuffle over, we actually started to lose more episodes. By that point, so certain episodes was meant to get is another episode with Howard the Duck's daughter to see how she got with Gamora. There was meant to be basically 3 more episodes to fill out that whole storyline, so we didn't just get to 2 stories and a half and then the final, because the rest are random.
Also, I'm sorry, but I'm still annoyed at Thor, at the Goddess of Thunder, Storm, not even getting her own episode, just immediately showing up as part of this super team.
So, once again, that was the point. We lost her episode as part of the episodes that were taken away, because each one of those team members were meant to get their own story. But instead, we got, to be honest, one of the worst episodes we've ever had, which was the Bucky and the Red Guardian episode, that bored the arse out of me, left, right, and centre.
And the opposite, I love that episode. But then again,
Yeah, I know, and
then
so
again,
many-
David
so many
Harbour is
do.
David. It's probably because David Harbour just makes me fucking laugh repeatedly as Red Guardian.
I mean, I do like those two characters. Don't get me wrong, and I love that. And like I say, David Harbour is great. I found that episode boring. Like, they could have done that in any number of ways, and it didn't need to be an episode. That episode didn't need to replace us learning how we got Storm, God of Thunder.
Oh, I know.
In any aspect. Ow.
I know. But enough about that. Should we talk about the actual symbol, the actual thing we were supposed to talk about at the minute on the stream?
Yes.
Of Strange New Worlds. Because this has been a show that I'm going to say honestly, since watching the first episode of the first season, has single-handedly made me remember why I actually love Star Trek so much. Because
Yes, I agree. I have loved this series from the outset. And it's one of the shows that I introduced. Well, my wife knew Star Trek. She knew Next Generation very well, but not much past that. So so this was one of the early shows we watched from to do timeline order.
Yeah, well, your wife has good taste because Next Generation is the best series.
Well, I mean, I agree. It's a very good series. There's reasons behind she watched it. We won't talk about that. But yeah,
was the name Brent Spiner?
I'm actually I am a big fan and proponent of Deep Space Nine, which is what we're now up to. Because I actually do think that was some of the best writing in Star Trek. Maybe not overall, may not be classed as the best series with the most iconic stories, but actually the writing all the way through was solid. And you did get some of the best episodes of Star Trek,
and the best Ferengi in the history of Star Trek.
Well, yeah, but unfortunately, you can't claim. I can't claim him. That character was already started to be created in Next Generations.
I know, but Quark is the best fucking Ferengi ever.
Yeah.
No one can say he isn't.
Yeah. Yes. Well, one of the great reasons for that was very early on, him and the guy who plays his brother. They came to a very fast conclusion that if they didn't, that they could easily be removed. They were kind of a lot of their characters and the guys playing the Ferengi could easily be removed because, if they ever needed to cut the fat. So they decided to make them the most well-rounded characters in Star Trek history. And this is, I mean, they've talked about this now. Armin's talked about this a million
Armin
times.
is awesome. I love Armin.
Where
Even though my first
everyone
experience
that
with
played a
Armin
Ferengi-
is
Buffy?
Yeah, Buffy and Snyder, but I love him in everything I've ever seen him in. He's so good. He's just a really good
Always
actor.
very good. And by every means I've ever heard of anyone that's met him, like both either at a convention by paying or randomly in a random area, he's incredibly lovely. But what he did was while they were filming, every Sunday, anyone that played a Ferengi on the show, even if it was just for that session, was invited to his house for dinner, and they would go over their lines, but then they would also do a little thing where they just acted as Ferengi around the house for an hour or two, interacting with each other. And this is something that they carried on to all of the conventions that they went to. If they went if there was 2 or 3 of them, and Armand in particular, they would do a little mini stage show where they'd dress up as Ferengi. And yeah, him, the woman that played his mum, the guy who played his brother, and the guy who played Nog, would regularly do these at cruises and stuff. So yeah, they really nailed down those characters. That's why they're so good in that series, because actually all the actors, even the extras, worked really freaking hard. I just want to give those guys a shout out.
Oh yeah.
Armin
is just a fucking brilliant actor. He's just.
Yes.
I love seeing him in shows because I'm like, as much as my first reaction is, hey, it's Snyder. It's just, I love him in anything I see him in because it's like, yes, he is brilliant.
Well, weirdly enough, the first time I ever recognised him in anything as someone because I think I'd seen Buffy before this. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm this, and then it was Buffy, and I was like, oh, that's the guy. But the guy I always go back to is not Snyder, and not even Quirk.
Mhm.
It's as the head of the Nox in Stargate SG-1. When they meet the Nox, it's like, you are children, and that's what I remember him as every single time. It's like the guy who plays the Doctor in Star Trek Voyager. When I see him, I don't necessarily always think
Robert
of
Picardo.
Robert Picardo. I don't necessarily think him from that. Even to this day, that's not my first image of him. My first image of him is in Gremlins 2.
I know exactly what scene you mean.
Yeah.
Oh, god damn it. Oh yeah.
Strange New Worlds. It's been fantastic. Weird enough, both me and my wife noticed something, and I've mentioned this to you already.
What?
The attitude of Pike this season has been so weird. He's been overly kind of pushy, and obviously there's a lot going on with him and his partner, but he's been making bad decisions. He's not been making the best decisions. Before this, he has made pretty much the best decision you can make in that situation. And
Yeah.
especially in the episode where they're trying to find, it's the zombie episode.
Yeah.
He actually isn't making the best decision on every single turn. The Doctor has to make the better decisions every time.
It does. I was pointing out, I think I said this to you, the reason why I think it's happening is because, quite literally, he is getting to that point. He knows what's coming. It's that point where he knows exactly what's about the end of the season. It feels like the end of the season will be that incident, the one that puts him in the chair, and he knows what's happening.
This is what I was saying.
He's trying to change it.
Well, it's not that he's trying to change it. I think he's coming to terms with it, and he wants to spend. He expected something to be able to do something in his time, and actually his loved ones might be dying, and he's already spent one series getting over the fact he knows when his time is coming. And the second series was all about living the life he had, and trying to make sure, no matter what is going to happen in the future, that today is always going to be the day he lives for. And then now he's gone back into this weird regression thing because of what's going on with the other captain.
Yeah. Well, isn't she also his future wife in the? It's his wife. She's Pike's wife as well. If you remember correctly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, his partner. I don't know if they get married. I'm not sure.
He does get married. Remember, he is married to someone at the end. In the end of it.
But no, because remember, Pike. The whole thing about Pike is he stayed single because he was always going back to
Telos
the planet to go see that woman, to Telos to see the woman again.
Yeah.
So so I mean, I think you're right. And that's how I kind of explained it to my wife, was that he knows his time is coming and things are going to have to change, and he's suffering it now.
Yeah, I will also point out, looking at the old Captain Pike, from the original series when he shows up and the episode, right? And then looking at Anson, the one that plays him now, they picked an actor that really does look like the original Pike. Like, they did make him look a lot like the original Pike with the way they've, done him. He looks quite...
Oh, see, no, that guy always reminded the original guy, not the guy in the second version where you go back to Telos, but the original pilot Pike. He always reminded me of Tarzan. He had the Buster Crab look to him. Yeah. One thing we never really got for this Pike, which we did get in.
I don't mean the original. I mean the Pike is in the Pike in the chair when we get him for Telos.
I know. I know you mean. That's why when you said they have a very similar look, because I was like, yeah, that original guy, he didn't. But yeah, he. One thing you didn't get, I got from the new Pike that you got from him was actually the forlornness, because before everything that happened on Talos, he's talking about giving up, and he's kind of had his time with Starfleet. He's been doing it for too long, and yet when we jump back in with him, even before the stuff with Discovery,
I have a
That's
question.
not who he is. He's a very
Have we had the
happy
Talos
adult.
incident yet in this one in New
Yes.
Strange New Worlds?
Yes, so we've actually had we've actually had the follow up to the Talos incident. There was one whole episode where they started off black and white. They showed all the bits from the cage, and then it goes into the woman calling them back. We've actually had an episode in Strange New Worlds where they've gone back to Talos after this event. You must remember that.
I'll have to rewatch it. Most of my memories
Yeah.
of this series have been the Gorn stuff,
So-
because the Gorn stuff was
so,
amazing since they started showing up. We finally got the Gorn expanded.
So yeah, no, so the timeline goes. The Talos incident happens. Then on the basically the way back, that I'm sure I'm getting this right. The way back to Earth from that is when Discovery, not the Discovery, the Michael Burnham starts the Klingon War, and because the Enterprise is the most powerful ship that they still have in the fleet, they send it off to hide.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why when the next time you see it, which is in Discovery, everyone's pissed off with them because, you know, you're the most powerful ship, but you've been nowhere in this war. I was like, yeah, but if we lost this ship to the Klingons, we've lost the war. We were always the backup. We were, when you needed something that could kick a hole in a planet, you bring us in. But until then, we're gone. So yeah, that's that timeline. So Talos, that, boom, boom, and then Strange New Worlds.
Yeah, it's also a lot of people are getting a bit confused. But how do we have a Khan on the ship like Lan? And it's like, I don't think people have gotten that the Star Trek timeline, because of all the fucking time travel in Star Trek, has gotten so messed up.
No. This is very simple. Right. So, and this is actually even mentioned in Khan's episode and in other mentions of Khan and what happened on the Botany Bay. They're all genetic engineering was fine. When the war happened, and they actually had their fight, the ones that were actually sent leaders of the dissident groups.
Oh, I don't mean that. I'm on about as in how do we represent a descent of Khan and them never hearing of Khan before? And it's like, it's because it's actually because the timeline in Star Trek has been, because the time travel has been messed up. Because if you pay attention, the genetics wars originally in the original start of the original series happens in the 90s, and now in the current timeline, it happens in the post 2020s. Events keep moving because of the stuff that's happened.
Yeah, no matter what, it happens before first contact.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, but it doesn't matter in any of them. Every time they've had a Khan, be it in the movies, both versions, both universes, and in the TV show, he mentions how originally he left Earth. When he left Earth, he had wives and children.
Oh yeah,
wives plural, children multiple. So yeah, he's got multiple descendants on Earth, and she's one of them. But she's one of the few that, the only ones that could. They weren't allowed any more genetic engineering to a certain extent. They were still born with it. Well, they were born with the genetic stuff that still got passed down, but they weren't meant to be allowed to add any more.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's why you can have a Khan on an Enterprise or in Starfleet, because actually, kind of like Genghis Khan, that's one of the that's one of the archetypes of that character is Genghis Khan.
I'm more on about if you pay attention to when he first shows up in the original series, they'd never heard of him. Whereas now, current timeline canon, he's actually a known figure of history. There is because the timelines of it's because of all the one of the directors and did explain it in an interview of that it's because of Star Trek has had so much time travel during like original series, during Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, during Voyager, during like all of these different shows that the timeline has basically, to make events must always happen. So the timelines had to, it's just naturally adjust itself, and it's just subtly never been noticed. But it's also due to, we kind of can't have it happen in the 90s when we're past the 90s at this point.
There is the other argument for that, which was, this is before, to be fair, a lot of this was on Alpha Centauri, the old website for Star Trek, the old thing. This kind of does also go against it being the same thing, because this Enterprise should have still had the same problem.
Mm-hmm.
Is that its data banks only hold certain things. It was never the full repository of human knowledge within the Enterprise.
Yeah.
So when it says our data banks are fragmented, it's basically because we only have certain parts of all of human history on our computers, and we're building a bit more up with what is on the data banks on this, either on this ship, or what we're slowly feeding through from Earth as this is the data we require. So, if it takes 10 days for data to get there, or voice communication might take less for text and shit. So the argument is that actually they would have known about it. A historian would have known about it, but the computer records may not have held it on the Enterprise at that time. But a family member would definitely know their family history. But yeah. Also, you got to remember, other than Spock and Uhura at that point,
mm-hmm.
There's no other crew members on that ship that would have met a Khan,
except Kirk, who's met Lahan.
Oh shit! Yeah, Paul Kirk.
Also, it's explained in the actual episode of why things have due to change of timeline caused in timeline as a result of various temporal wars. The original events concerning the rise of Singh were pushed back, and events reinserted themselves at a later date in the timeline, according to Romulan temporal agent Sarah, during the episode where Lahan goes back into the past to fix the timeline.
Yeah, it's all retroactive continuity stuff.
Yeah, it's because it makes sense. It's because it's temporal wars. We always forget that Star Trek had a whole fucking era of temporal wars in Star Trek, where they were fighting over time.
But like I say, but people saying they can't understand why there's a Khan on the ship. I've seen this before. I was like, well, wouldn't there shouldn't be one there? And also, I was like, well, no, that doesn't mean that's fine, because they mentioned descendants, and once again, if they mention descendants, people are going to know that shit happened. Historians know that shit happened. So the other side of it saying that the computer records are not complete on a starship makes more sense to me than all of that history was wiped out, But anyway, it doesn't matter. They fixed it the way they fixed it, and I've been enjoying it. The whole episode where Kirk had to take control of the Enterprise, not the Enterprise, the other ship, and you just saw him as a captain doing captain stuff. And the moment he sat on that chair, it was a different episode. Mm-hmm. He looks at it and he sits down as Captain Kirk.
So did you like the cold open, by the way, to episode 4 of this season?
Yes, me and Beth were in tears when they did the joke episode of original Star Trek.
Of the guy that plays Kirk literally speaking like William Shatner. And I'm like, and I was just like, oh my fucking god, no, they did not do this.
Some of the things that they were saying when they were just like making up science fiction babble for the things, but it's like really, because like Star Trek does science fiction babble really well. They make it sound futuristic and scientific, and then there's a lot of shows that try and do that, and what you actually get is a word soup, and it just sounds dumb.
Yeah,
like comedy science fiction.
It was so,
and they managed, and in this case, they managed to get that perfect, like the comedy of that perfectly. But everything that they said, I could see William Shatner saying on set one day when he's pissed off about whatever he's got to say in his script. He's like, I don't know why I've got to pick up a plasma spanner.
Yeah, I'm just like, Will, no one said plasma spanner. That's not in the script.
Yeah, that's it, and it just made me laugh.
It's just the fact that they got him to speak. Like, listen, Ethan Peck is the guy that plays Kirk.
Yeah,
like they got him to speak like Will Shatner for the whole episode, and I was like, this is the best fucking way. You could have
It
done
was
this.
so good.
And then I will say the speech from her and then I will say the speech from Uhura's character went on it when she's thinking it's Uhura who's the murderer about the show, and I went, this speech literally is what Star Trek has meant to me since I've watched it. It is
Yeah.
a show that is meant to shine a light on like the better future we can make together if we just work together, if we just put aside all of our differences and work towards a better future. It is a show that's meant to show us that this is possible if we just cut the bullshit. And it's like this is what is possible. And it's like, yeah, this is what this show has always been. It's something that I can imagine Gene Roddenberry actually fucking saying in a a conference about the show, like why she wants the show to continue, because it did mirror to me. I realized that mirrored the whole. I wasn't born then, but I've read about it. Like kind of the campaign that was started by a lot of Star Trek fans when they went to cancel the original series. Because they think, oh, this is a shit show, it's not going to catch on. And then, the fans were like, no. Because it's the point of the matter is that the show it is a show that is very much... Star Trek has always tried.
The early history of Star Trek is absolutely fantastic, weird.
Mm-hmm.
It in some cases, it makes the Disney-Sony contract look like the most simple thing in the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those things where people forget that the comedian Lucille Ball was literally the reason we got Star Trek. Her company, something Lou, can't remember what it was. Her and her husband's company was the one that funded the first season, and it was a big deal. And that's where you start getting the weird CBS Paramount problem. As well, because of how the show was passed around. Because yes, there's a CBS Paramount issue, which normally wouldn't be an issue until you come to the Calvin universe and they want to do a Star Trek movie of the original series, and you think, well, that's fine because it's Paramount, right? Star Trek's Paramount. Well, no, not the first series, not the original series.
No.
And they had to have the adage rule of 10% went up to a big change. That's why the ship looks looks very different than you would expect. And the costumes are a lot more different than you expect. They had to have a percentage variance from how the original looked. They included down to how they flew the ship. That's why you have levers and stuff and not just buttons. But yeah.
Yeah, the newest episode's out today.
Changes. Yes, I will. Well, we're a little bit behind. We have been watching other things.
Well, yeah, you're on episode 7, I believe, aren't you?
Yeah, I think so. Round about there.
Which is, I can tell because it tells me that that's the episode that you haven't started yet, and I've watched the ones after it.
So we have been watching Star Trek Deep Space Nine. We're slowly. We're at the last 3 episodes of the first season now to watch. And the first season of Deep Space Nine, once again, I love it, but it isn't fully Deep Space Nine yet. It's fighting its course because you've got the people creating the show going, this is Star Trek, it's just not the Star Trek you're used to. And you've got the head-ups going, no, but we want the Star Trek we're used to.
Yes. The issue, I will say, Deep Space Nine's main issue is, don't get me wrong, I don't like Deep Space Nine that much. I've admitted this before. It's the one series I don't like that much. But at the same time, it suffers from the problem of I think the same problem that a certain Star Wars suffers from is that they try and give us these shows that are like a bit different, like Deep Space Nine, or that end up being really good, like Deep Space Nine and Skeleton Crew, and the shows that aren't focused on, you know what I mean, like majority of what Star Trek is focused on, like the focus on the other aspect of it. They try and get these shows, and these shows are really, really good, but they don't gain the traction as much as they don't gain as much of the traction with fans as the other shows do. And I think
But
that's sad
here's
because it's like Alien Earth. We're used to Alien Earth. Everything we've got in Alien Earth in these films has been, alien, spaceship, one gets loose, kills everyone on the crew. Aliens, gets loose in a colony, takes out the colonists, wipes out a bunch of Marines. Alien 3 gets loose on a prison planet, wipes out the prisoners. You know what I mean? It's always one alien and then a bunch of humans. And we've finally got something different with Alien Earth, where it's not just one alien, and a bunch of humans, it's a bunch of other life forms as well as this alien that are just as deadly. And I want more stuff like that explores these universes and gives us the other aspects of them. Not just the Starfleet aspect of, Star Trek and stuff. I want to see I'm excited for Starfleet Academy. I like the entire idea of a show that is not going to be ship based. It's going to be, showing you how they train the crews and everything. I like the idea of it's basically going to be a coming of age drama, with, in Star Trek. And I'm fully for that because I like the idea of, something that's going to be exploring how these people, how these ensigns, go from being cadets to ensigns and stuff.
Well, I'm kind of hoping we get something like the Alpha Fleet storyline where, for whatever reason, a bunch of cadets.
Oh, did you know that Harry Kim finally got above being being an ensign because he's on the wall of heroes, as I think it's Lieutenant Harry Kim.
He did get I think he did get a class up before them. But actually, going on to Harry Kim and Voyager, funny enough, with Deep Space Nine, is that that era of Star Trek was actually the most popular era for Star Trek because in terms of viewership, because at one point you had 2 shows running concurrently with basically the same number of viewers, because it's something you could do because Deep Space Nine was based in one place. You could then do Voyager, that was doing the old school shit of visiting planets every week and doing that stuff. And for a couple of years, they overlapped.
Mm-hmm. They could never be in the same place because the whole Voyager thing was they were trapped in the Delta Quadrant.
But even then, like I say, because there were 2 different storylines as well. Mm-hmm. Like I say, one was a stationary story that was each week was ongoing. It was, it was very much become a soap opera style thing. Whereas Deep Space Nine, Voyager could still do its episodic stuff with long-term story links. But it could then do everything that you expected from Star Trek and Star Trek Next Generation. They popped to a planet and this happened, that happened. There was a space battle. But I say that first season is when everyone's sort of bumping into each other, and then the second and third season, the writers have locked all these characters down. They've heard what the fans have liked from that first season, which means you now get Garak back, because the first season you get 2 episodes with Garak, and both of those, one of them is just his introduction, the other one's a glimpse.
Garak's the Cardassian, isn't he? If I remember correctly.
Yeah.
He's the fucking hilarious character. I know him. He's also the best meme ever. That's the repot. Oh. They don't. We don't. Stop it, Garak.
Everything he says is a perfect meme.
Yeah.
He was a meme machine.
He is Garak. Garak is the best. Garak is one of the best characters in DS9.
He's one of the best. Once again, one of the best written characters in Star Trek, because
I think
right from the very beginning,
because DS9 is set in such a in a static location. Yeah. It allowed them to do the whole to do the character stuff, whereas because Voyager and Next Generation and the original series, Strange New Worlds, a little bit, not as much. Strange Worlds seems to develop the characters all really well, and so did as some people disagree me. Discovery did it as well. I enjoyed Discovery a lot. I think my entire opinion. I love Discovery because I don't have the whole it's not Star Trek. It's this. I'm like, it's Star Trek. It is. I actually like the idea that this is, they just made this character related to this character so that we'd love it. And I'm like, no, I actually like this character because Michael's, like they go, I love how people try and say Michael's a Mary Sue. I'm thinking, Michael fucks up constantly and gets told off for it constantly in every single series. She gets reprimanded so many fucking times for fucking up. How is she a Mary Sue?
I never really got the anger towards that series at all. Oh no, don't get me wrong. There were times when I watched it and I was like, "This is more Black Hole or I can't remember the other one, Dark something." You know, it is becoming more like that.
Yeah.
Then it doesn't take long
for it to get back to Star Trek. It doesn't take long. It's also a different.
Far from it.
Yeah. It's also.
I mean, it's a change. I mean, like I said, the change in styles wasn't massive in previous Star Treks, but the way that the sort of almost gung ho piratey style of the original series to the more peace and harmony of Next Generation of, you know, it's all about trying to be diplomatic and showing the best of human endeavor in that way, not just over using intelligence and guile. Then, but all of these, the styles changed, but then you sort of got static with the next two iterations. You know, you've got it is just the Next Generation flavor. Enterprise was different, very, very different. That gave a bit more of a grittier element to everything. You know, nothing. The way that they had conversations weren't as nice as to each other as anyone else. They spoke about different matters and things in a very more blunt and open way. And then when you go on to things like Discovery, that is the next leap in that. But then because so few people actually watch fucking Enterprise in the first place, to actually notice that jump in change, that actually from Voyager to Discovery, that tonal change is a big jump.
Oh yeah,
in fairness, but that's because you haven't had that later 2000s attitude to storytelling that you did get in Enterprise.
No,
which does kind of bridge the gap in the tonal shift.
Oh yeah, and I'll be honest, in Strange New Worlds did give me one of my favourite episodes in all the Star Trek history, though. You know which has on bad's name, don't you, Jax?
It does for me, but here's the thing. This is where I do understand a lot of people's upset about the Strange New World series. Now, I loved the musical episode.
Subspace Rhapsody. It's so beautiful.
One of the best. Yeah.
I am a fan, right? I like it because it's that whimsical episode right before that's like, you know, it's a filler. Like as we've discussed it many times before as friends and as normally as friends. And we discussed it on this show before, like the Firefly thing of where they put all the filler episodes first, wasn't it? And then put the action episodes.
Well, no, they put all the action episodes first, then the filler ones at the end, and it really screwed up the original area.
Yeah. Whereas it's that filler episode because it's like, we're going to give you a lighthearted episode because we know the next episode's about to hit you like a truck.
Yeah, we've had a dark one. It's going into a dark one. Just let's have a paste through. But yes, but then we have started to kind of get things like Muppets and stuff, and you're like, well, you've really gone over the gimmicks, and we've kind of you don't want to do it too often, and you've only got 3 series in you. You don't want to every season. You don't want to have a gimmick episode.
But I will say this: the musical episode is brilliant because it is such a. It's also done as an in-universe explanation of why everyone starts singing, and I like that. Yeah. I like that they actually have a full in-universe explanation of why it happens. It's like the Buffy episode that does the same thing with theirs, and it's actually the reason I like it because it's an episode where they all start singing, but they give us an in-universe explanation for why it happens, just like Buffy does, rather than like
a plausible in-universe reason.
Yeah,
and the key thing, and this is the key thing about both of these versions, because other shows have done musical ones that don't get this. They not only do good music, but the music itself is part of the script telling the story like an opera. Yeah. I've seen so many where the
song is out of nowhere and doesn't fit. It just like completely juxtapositions with the scene.
where either it's a song that they've written that isn't very good and, like I say, doesn't really fit, or it's a song that they've tried to sort of force in that is a pop song or a well-known song that the character's singing.
Yeah,
It's a bit like, oh, we're on fire. Yeah, fuck off.
No,
yeah.
Like it's like the Spock one where the beginning where it first starts when they first realize they're singing. It's like Spock, Mr. Spock report, and it's just a sudden the intermix chamber is surprisingly stable. It's the sort of bit of like, what the fuck? Why is Spock singing? Because the music doesn't kick in until just after he starts singing, and you're like, wait, why is Spock singing? All of a sudden, and even in the song they question, I appear to be singing. Like this, the song itself calls out the fact that why are we suddenly singing? Like,
yeah, I mean the Buffy moment in that is when they go through the town, and in particular the line is, "It isn't right, it isn't fair.
There was no parking anywhere. I swear that hydrant wasn't there. Oh, please won't let you let it go."
It's the line, "I'm not wearing any underwear." And yeah, it is those little moments that actually just work it as well.
Yeah, it's where like, because in the Buffy episode you have bits where they're walking past and there's just people singing in certain bits in the background. Yeah. Like when it's throughout the episode, it's the way they do it, where you can even see it in the Star Trek episode. There's bits where where the main characters aren't singing, but you can see in the background something's clearly going on in the background, and it's like you just fit it in the whole scene. I
can't remember the full line in it, but yeah, it's like they're walking past someone. He's like, "He put the mustard in the bun."
It's when they ask, "Is it just us?" And then Buffy opens the door, and it's just like, "They got the mustard out." And it's just everyone singing a show tune song if they got the mustard out, and it's like, oh god,
yeah.
No, it's not just us.
That's the bit.
I've got a theory. Could be demons. I may have watched the Buffy episode far too many times. I know every song.
No.
It's such a well-written episode.
Could be funnies. It must be bunnies.
I love that. Anya is the best.
Not only do I have that, I buy that CD.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, if it's playing, I do know it all off by heart.
Yeah, such a good episode. Let me rest in peace. Let me get some sleep. Let me lay my body down, but I can't find my sweet release.
Yeah, Jason Masters song, the one where they auto-tune Jason Masters, who's actually already a singer. It's really stupid. But
I died.
Yeah, and so he was quite shocked when we were watching the Buffy. He was watching a Buffy marathon, and it got to the musical episode. Now the joke is that I do love Buffy, and when they were putting it on, it's like, "Oh, do you want to watch Buffy?" I was like, "What's that?" He's like, "It's about a vampire hunter." Vampire Hunter D. I don't know what that is. Anyway, but long story short, we put it on, and like it was already very close to the musical episode, and he was like, "Oh, this is a musical one." I was like, "I hate musicals." He's like, "Oh no, this is a really good one." And then as soon as the song started, I was singing word for word.
Yeah, it's one of them. It's like,
and you should have seen the look on his face. And I was like, "Oh, I'm just reading the subtitles." It's like there is no subtitles. Like, oh, is there not?
It's not.
That's weird.
It's just looking at you like you're a twat. You know this, Jax.
But yeah, no, my actual favourite song in that is Willow Tree. I just think that is just awesome, and the reprise of it all.
Mine is mine in that episode is forever cemented as I Have a Theory. It's just.
Yeah, no, I Have a Theory is great just because you've got the whole rock out over how bunnies are evil.
Or maybe midgets. I love Anya. Anya has the most irrational fear in the world. What? A bunny rabbits. The weird thing is, she's been a demon for so many years and she's scared of rabbits and midgets. Maybe she knows something in that universe that we don't know. That's the real question.
No, that isn't right there.
It's a rabbit. It's the fact in the episode when they all lose the memory and they start trying to, use magic, and Anya just keeps summoning bunnies and is terrified. And I love it. I love the fact that Anya's irrational fear is just rabbits. I am this all scary person that used to be a demon for centuries. I'm scared of bunny rabbits, like the most innocuous creature in the world. I'm scared of them.
Yeah, it's yeah. So let's say musical episodes are great, and
Emma Caulfield is awesome.
Yeah,
I loved her in WandaVision.
Before, because I've been very confused, and I've been watching each episode, and I remember you saying it was episode 4 that did this, and I watched episode 4 and I couldn't work it out. What point, whilst watching these, did you finally come to the realization that number 1 is also Mystique? Because I remember you being really shocked by it when you realized, and I'm sure it was episode 4, and I was like,
no, it was. I was watching. I was watching X-Men. I was rewatching X-Men and went, wait a minute, that's number 1. That was my brain went, wait a minute, that's number 1. And I was like, oh, it's because, right, I've only ever originally normally seen her in, like, the only time I've ever seen Rebecca Margie in, like, a film that I've recognised her is the X-Men movies when she's, in the full blue makeup as Mystique. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I didn't realise without the makeup.
I assume there was an episode. I assume there's going to be an episode where she was like a Bolian or an Andorian, and you've gone like, oh shit.
No, I was just sat there going, I was watching X-Men again, like I do every so often, because as much as I hate the Bryan Singer X-Men movies, we both can agree, I just don't like them that much, because we know the reason why at the time, but my reason is I despise the fact that they focused on Logan far too much, because it's always meant to be a team thing and not one character as, the centerfold. But I was watching and then looked at Rebecca Margie's face and went, that's Una. Just because I've been watching Strange New Worlds for the past week, and then I was like, that's Una. Oh shit, I'm an idiot. I did not realize Rebecca Margie was fucking Una.
Yeah. Well,
it was also because it was the first time I watched the credits. I think it was also because the first time I watched the credits and realised Rebecca Romagne's name was in the credits, I went, oh. I am an idiot to not realise.
What got me was like, as you said this like a couple of weeks ago, like, a couple of months ago, we were watching the chair thing together, and you read her name out and went, hey, Mystique's in this.
Yeah, no.
I was like, yeah. And then when you was like, yeah, but you know her name. You know both characters' actresses' real names.
I know.
You just haven't linked it together yet.
No, I haven't. It's one of those things where you see someone as like their face, if you get what I mean, and you don't you just don't link it. Like you get what I mean. Like it took me so fucking long to link them together. I will say, episode 8, right, is one of those episodes that you think is going to be a jokey episode, but actually plays out really seriously. Also, may or may not hint at something that is already known. Hint at something already known to the fans that that the wider Star Trek universe doesn't know at that point.
Okay,
you'll enjoy it. It's got a good title. Also, the best part about it is it has Patton Oswalt in the episode. And I love Patton Oswalt.
I've seen images of him. Is he looks like a Romulan or a Vulcan? Yeah.
He's a Vulcan. It's like the Patton Oswalt's in the episode. I'm like, it's Patton Oswalt. Awesome.
To be fair, he just wants to get himself in every piece of science fiction.
Also, I will say this: I can't remember if it's the last scene is either after the credits or during the credits. Just watch it; it's worth a watch.
Oh, cool. I shall.
But I'm gonna end the podcast here. That's this week's podcast, as you all know. Jack, can you just double check for me on Twitch that it is shown as a podcast and thingy for me?
It says talk show and podcast.
Yeah, good. It just means because, as I say, as normal, if you want the VOD, yeah. Well, what?
It says Power World.
Does it? Shouldn't say Power World.
It's one of the tags next to podcast.
Oh no, it's just a tag because I was playing Power World before, so I just left the tag in. But That if you want the VOD, if you've watched this live, you will need to go to YouTube slash the YouTube channel. It's in the links in this is in the description. It's links in the channel. Click it. Go and subscribe. Like the YouTube channel. We release videos every Friday. I will be back on Sunday with another live stream. Don't know what game yet. Probably Helldivers, because the new Into the Unjust update came out a couple of days ago. Brilliant update, really fun, and I may or may not have be addicted to jumping into bug holes and shit and killing bugs, because I find frankly I find the thought of a bug that thinks kind of offensive.
Everyone should. I mean, currently, weirdly enough, I'm killing lots of bugs in Fortnite because the storyline is around a weird bug invasion. I know nothing about the storyline of Fortnite. I've only jumped in to get the Power Ranger content and now apparently the Gorillas content because I love Gorillas. I think this motherfucker's hooked me. I pick in my favourite things and going, do you want these things now as well? Now you're here. You want this. And I'm like, yeah, yeah, I do actually. So I actually kind of weirdly do expect because one of the things that he did do was a Halo crossover early on in this pack. So if the bug theme is staying for a while, I could easily see them doing a weird crossover with Helldivers being the costumes for some of this bug stuff.
Oh, well, they'll bring the term. To be fair, Fortnite's had concerts in it and all sorts in it now. It's really interesting.
Oh, man. It is. I didn't know. I mean, I knew, but I didn't realise. It is such a weird and fascinating community and culture because, yeah, you've got your run and gun guys and you've got loads of assholes. But then, like, you get times where I told you early on, when I've been playing games for over 30 years, I understand gaming. I understand online gaming. I went into a 1v100 battle royale, walked into a room, and a dude was holding a TED talk with like 10 people listening. And at first, I thought they were NPCs, and I realised they wasn't. And then when I thought, well, this is my chance, and killed them, they had a go at me for not playing by the spirit of the game.
Yeah, it's such a weird thing to say, but I'll bid everyone adieu. I'd say subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're back on Sunday with a live stream again, playing some games as per usual on a Sunday. We are thinking of getting a group of us together and possibly playing one Sunday, playing a couple of Dead by Daylight games. I totally won't traumatize all my friends while playing that. I mean, I have Chucky. You full well know I'm going to do the Chucky voice the entirety of that while playing as Chucky.
Well, I mean, you are a ginger, so I'm not necessarily sure you're not the bride of Chucky anyway.
I'm the child of Chucky. What are you about?
Even worse.
But yeah. We'll be back as per usual, 2 weeks' time for this podcast, with another 3 topics if we want to talk about. And so you feel free if you want to suggest them in the comments on the YouTube channel, on the YouTube VOD. Feel free to suggest comments you want to talk about, here things you want to hear about. That's all fine and dandy. But like, subscribe, and we'll be back, as I say, as per usual, 2 weeks' time for this podcast, but I'll be back on Sunday for definite. So I bid everyone adieu. Goodbye.